Hidden beyond the rolling hills of Northern Virginia, Kash Patel's estate carries a quiet power. A place where long gravel driveways, towering oak trees, and the calm of rural life meet the intensity of a man known for never backing down. This property is more than a retreat. It is where discipline, strategy, and an unwavering worldview shape his everyday life. And today, we step inside that space, exploring the home, the lifestyle, and the personal touches that make up one of Donald Trump's most fearless warriors. Long before he stepped into Washington's storm, his life opened quietly in an immigrant household built on discipline, faith, and relentless persistence. A world that took shape on a cold February morning in 1980 in Garden City, New York. There, a boy named Kashyap Pramod Vinod Patel was born into a crowded home struggling to rebuild life from nothing. His parents had crossed continents, from Uganda to Canada, then to the United States, carrying little more than determination, while 8 of his father's siblings lived under the same roof, filling the space with noise, tradition, and the constant reminder that survival required effort. Kash grew up in a Hindu family where discipline shaped every routine, and quiet ambition waited beneath the surface, preparing him for the battles that would one day define his name. At Garden City High School, he was the kid who blended into the hallways but watched the world with sharp attention. That careful eye later became his greatest weapon. After graduation, he moved south to Richmond, earning a degree in criminal justice and history in 2002. The first step toward a life shaped by law, conflict, and national security. His curiosity carried him to London for a certificate in international law, and then back to New York, where he completed his law doctorate at Pace University in 2005. The journey felt like climbing a ladder with missing rungs, but it taught him resilience, the kind that would define his future influence. When he moved to Florida and joined the state bar in 2006, Kash stepped into the world of public defense. For 8 years, he defended people no one else wanted to stand beside. Murder suspects, international drug traffickers, men whose lives had unraveled long before they reached a courtroom. Those years hardened him, but also clarified what he was good at: pressure, strategy, and seeing through the noise. Eventually, the Department of Justice noticed. In 2014, he joined the National Security Division as a trial attorney and liaison to United States Special Operations. For the first time, his work moved from local crime scenes to global threats. In 2017, the light shifted again. Kash entered the United States House Intelligence Committee as a senior counterterrorism advisor. Washington was louder, sharper, and far more political than any courtroom he had ever stood in. But he adapted quickly. Devin Nunes appointed him as a senior aide, and suddenly Kash found himself in the center of the storm, analyzing investigations, drafting reports, and playing a key role in Republican pushback against the Russian election interference probes. News outlets named him the primary author of the controversial Nunes Memo, a document accusing the Federal Bureau of Investigation of misconduct. Supporters saw him as bold, critics saw him as dangerous. But Kash embraced the role. Conflict had always sharpened his purpose. After the House flipped to Democratic control in 2019, he spent a month at the Oversight Committee before stepping into the White House. The National Security Council brought him into its ranks, and within months, a new position was created just for him: Senior Director for Counterterrorism. In early 2020, he quietly flew to Damascus to negotiate the release of American hostages held by the Syrian government, a mission that revealed both the risks he was willing to take and the trust he had earned. That same year, he became Principal Deputy to Acting Director of National Intelligence Richard Grenell, then accompanied President Donald Trump on an official trip to India. The months that followed were some of the most controversial of his career. Reports accused him of spreading faulty information about a hostage rescue authorization and of slowing post-election transition efforts within the Department of Defense. Still, in November 2020, he rose again, This time as Chief of Staff to Acting Defense Secretary Christopher Miller, overseeing sensitive operations during a turbulent moment in American politics. Every twist, every accusation, every comeback led him to the life he holds today. A career built on confrontation, loyalty, and an unwavering belief that he was meant to stand in the center of the fight. And now we explore the quiet retreat he lives in now, a private estate in Virginia built for peace, control, and shelter from the storm. Estate in Virginia. Sitting on 3.85 wooded acres, Kash Patel's Virginia estate immediately sets itself apart from typical suburban properties. From the rear, the home unfolds like a quiet tableau. White brick walls, soft gray roofing, and large windows stretched across 2 levels, reflecting the tree line that surrounds the land. The swimming pool rests just beneath the covered porch, bordered by pale stone paving and enclosed by a slim black fence that frames the scene without blocking the view. A small putting green sits deeper in the yard, neatly trimmed under the shade of mature trees, giving the entire estate a subtle resort-like rhythm. Stepping inside, the house opens into a bright white foyer, defined by arched openings, clean lines, and a staircase with black iron railings. Natural light drops softly from above, lifting the space and setting a calm, elegant tone for the rooms beyond. There is a sense of quiet formality here, the kind that signals careful design without heavy ornamentation. The main living spaces are shaped by light. A sitting room with floor-to-ceiling windows looks directly onto the pool, its pale wood floors and white furniture making the room feel weightless. Next to it, a sunroom wrapped in black-framed windows glows throughout the day, with light bouncing off the pale tile floor and creating the feeling of a garden room sheltered indoors. Both spaces open the house outward, making the landscape an active part of the interior. The kitchen follows with soft beige-gray cabinetry, a long white island, and brass lighting that casts a warm sheen across the marble-patterned surfaces. It feels refined but unfussy, the kind of kitchen built for real use rather than display. From here, the rooms connect effortlessly, allowing the entire main level to feel open, practical, and quietly luxurious. A more private rhythm appears in the home office at the front of the house. Tall windows on 3 sides pull in views of the trees, and the combination of white walls, dark wood floors, and a simple fireplace creates an atmosphere designed for focus. It is a serene workspace, purposeful without being severe. The house shifts again in the entertainment wing. The game room stretches under a high ceiling, with warm wood-toned walls, recessed lighting, a red billiard table, and foosball arranged neatly in the corner. The space feels relaxed and social, like a private club tucked inside the home. Adjacent to it, the media room offers a more intimate mood with soft lighting, built-in shelving, and a deep cream-colored sectional arranged before a wide screen. It is the kind of room meant for long evenings, quiet company, or a simple escape after a long day. Below the main floor, a large storage room reveals rows of natural wood shelving lining the walls. It is unpolished, honest, and purely functional, a practical backbone to a house otherwise defined by softness and light. Upstairs, the primary suite opens with a tray ceiling and a wall of windows that look down onto the wooded yard. A white fireplace anchors one corner, adding calm warmth to the room. The bathroom continues the same quiet aesthetic. A freestanding tub positioned beneath tall windows, a glass shower clad in bright marble, brass fixtures, and clean white walls that help the space feel as serene as a spa. The upper hallway stretches beneath a round skylight that spills daylight across the white walls and black railing. The long, simple corridor gives the home a sense of architectural clarity, tying the private rooms together with a steady rhythm of light and space. The entire property carries a unified spirit: light, openness, calm geometry, quiet colors, and uninterrupted privacy. Nothing here tries to impress loudly. Instead, The home feels like a retreat, shaped for someone who values space, silence, and the ability to step away from noise the moment the door closes. From this quiet Virginia estate, his life shifts west, to a sunlit Las Vegas home with a completely different rhythm. House in Las Vegas. Kash Patel's Las Vegas residence sits on a wide 10,019 square foot lot, a single-story home of about 2,100 square feet, wrapped in mature desert palms, a clean facade, and classic Spanish tile roofing that anchors the calm beauty of Nevada living. A stone walkway leads to the striking red front door, a bold accent against the blue sky and palm shadows, setting the warm, private tone of the neighborhood. Past the gate, the front garden reflects the desert climate. Gravel beds, yucca clusters, agave plants, and sculpted palms illuminated by soft exterior lighting. At sunset, the entire facade glows, giving the house the warmth of a quiet resort. The path leads directly to the front porch, where the soft amber lighting under the roofline creates an inviting entrance for guests. Inside, the home opens into a true open floor plan, one of its most valuable features. The main living space stretches wide with light-toned flooring, recessed lighting, and a white brick fireplace that brings a retro Nevada character. Everything connects seamlessly. The reading nook, the guitar display corner, the jukebox, and the main sofa arranged in front of the entertainment system. It feels like a blend of Cash's personal rhythm and the vibrant spirit of Las Vegas. Beside it is the fully remodeled kitchen, white shaker cabinets, subway tile backsplash, quartz countertops, and stainless steel appliances. The room opens into a classic black tufted booth, a rare, stylish touch that makes the space feel like a chic cafe tucked inside the home. This is where Kash often meets close friends when he returns from Washington, D.C. The bedrooms stay simple and calm with neutral tones, thick carpeting, and white shutters. The primary bedroom opens through glass doors to the backyard, where morning light pours in across the soft gray accent. Stepping into the backyard, the energy shifts into a full desert retreat. The curved blue pool wraps along the patio, reflecting Nevada's clear noon sky. Across from it stands a structure-motorized pergola, shading a classic outdoor dining set with ceiling fan and integrated lighting. The perfect setting for late dinners or conversations with trusted friends. The garden continues with manicured turf, a 3-tier fountain, uplighting along the ground, and towering palms framing the sky. At dusk, the colors of orange and violet blend across the horizon, turning the entire yard into a glowing postcard of Las Vegas evenings. This corner is where Kash rests most often after long stretches of work, simply watching the light fade across the roof tiles and listening to the quiet trickle of water. From the front path to the poolside glow, from the high-ceiling living room to the archive-filled studio, this home reflects Kash Patel's private side. Quiet, structured, filled with light, and grounded in practicality. It is the place he moves between Washington, D.C. and Nevada, always returning with the feeling of coming back to something steady, a true home. And now, let us explore the cars that have traveled with him through every chapter of his life. Car collection. The first is a black Chevrolet Tahoe, a vehicle he bought during a period when travel between Washington and private meetings seemed endless. He chose it for its quiet cabin and the sense of security it gives when highways blur into long stretches of night. He often uses it on trips to Virginia, where the wooded roads near his estate require something steady and confident. Inside, the Tahoe feels like a private lounge on wheels, wide leather seats, soft ambient lighting, and a calm, insulated hush that turns long drives into quiet stretches of thought. Today, similar models hold a market value around $60,000, but for him the worth lies in the calm it provides. A moving room where he can think without interruption. The second is a Lexus GX, purchased during the years he began balancing life between Nevada and Washington. The desert highways around Las Vegas are wide and open, and he wanted something comfortable enough to handle long distances but discreet enough to blend into everyday traffic. He often takes this one to informal meetups with close friends. The GX has become his companion for those stretches of quiet road, its value today sitting near $70,000, though what he appreciates most is how naturally it fits into the calmer side of his life. These vehicles reflect the way he moves through the world: steady, private, practical, and always on the road between responsibility and retreat. And now, let's take a look at the financial picture that has shaped his current life. Income and net worth. The money story of Kash Patel does not begin with power or high-level appointments. It begins with something far less glamorous: the modest salary of a young federal public defender, earning just enough to cover rent, long workdays, and the hope that his career would eventually lead him somewhere larger. That early income was small, but it became the foundation for a journey that now supports a $5 million net worth and the quiet, wooded Virginia estate he lives in today. The turning point came later, when Washington began to pull him into its center. As he moved through the Justice Department, the House Intelligence Committee, and the National Security Council, his government salary remained steady but unremarkable. What changed his finances was visibility, the kind that follows someone who becomes a key advisor in national security decisions during a turbulent political era. His roles under the Trump administration gave him influence, but the real financial shift came after he stepped out of government. That is when the larger numbers arrived. According to financial disclosures, Kash earned $2,600,000 in the year before receiving his shares in Trump Media. The company awarded him 25,946 shares in early 2025, valued at the time at $800,000, a single grant nearly equal to a decade of his earlier government income. Opportunities followed the attention. Paid consulting contracts, speaking events, television commentary, and branded merchandise under the name KSH became steady revenue streams, each one tying directly to his public persona. Another unexpected boost came from a 9-month consulting contract with the parent company of the fashion brand Shein. Instead of cash, he received pre-IPO stock valued between $1 million and $5 million, turning a short-term advisory role into one of the most significant assets on his financial sheet. Even today, his primary income does not rely on a single source. As a board member of Trump Media and Technology Group, he earns $120,000 per year. Political consulting continues to be lucrative. He received $300,000 from a Trump-aligned political action committee during 1 year of national security advising, and an additional $145,000 from Congressman Matt Gaetz's campaign for fundraising strategy. Layered together, board salary, consulting fees, political advising, book royalties, media appearances, merchandise sales, and 2 major stock holdings. These streams explain how a former federal defender now maintains a multi-acre Virginia estate and a lifestyle built on privacy, independence, and financial stability. His wealth did not come from one dramatic moment, but from a series of decisions that turned visibility into opportunity, and opportunity into long-term security. And with his financial foundation now firmly in place, he sets aside a part of it for meaningful charitable work, the kind that reflects his values more clearly than any title ever could. Philanthropy. Through the Kash Foundation, he supports legal aid, education programs, and government transparency efforts for families who often feel overlooked. Over time, the foundation has contributed more than $500,000, helping cover legal costs, funding workshops, and guiding citizens who need clarity in difficult moments. One of his closest causes is helping military families. After years working beside service members, he understood the pressure they carry at home. With a combination of personal giving and foundation support, he has donated more than $250,000 to veteran programs that provide counseling, transition help, and urgent financial relief. Kash also directs part of his giving toward children's education. Each year, he donates roughly $100,000 to these programs, often meeting teachers and parents whose gratitude feels more meaningful to him than any political appointment he ever held. Another area close to his heart is transparency and accountability. Through nonprofit partnerships, he has contributed more than $150,000 to organizations that push for clearer public records, ethical government processes, and accessible information for everyday citizens. These efforts form the quiet backbone of his public life, a reminder that influence only matters when it lifts someone else. And now we step into the private side of his life, the world he returns to after everything else. Personal life. Kash now lives primarily in his quiet Virginia estate, using it as the place where he resets between work and travel. Kash's life today is split between Washington, D.C. and Nevada, a rhythm that reflects both his work and the quieter pace he prefers when the cameras turn off. He keeps a small circle of close friends, people he has trusted for years, many of them from his time in national security work, who remain the anchor of his private life. With them, he is far less the public figure and far more the man who values loyalty and familiar faces. One of the constants in his routine is hockey. No matter how busy his schedule becomes, he still finds time to get on the ice. It is the one hobby he treats almost like therapy, fast, physical, and free of politics. Friends say he never misses a chance to play, especially when he is back in Nevada, where he often joins small local leagues or late-night pickup games just to stay sharp. In the past few years, much of his personal time has been shaped by legal battles that carried his name into the headlines. His defamation suit against Politico ended in 2022, and the more recent case against CNN reached its conclusion in January 2025, when the Virginia Court of Appeals ruled that his claims of actual malice were not supported by evidence. The rulings were public, but the way he handled them was private, meeting with advisors, leaning on his closest friends, and keeping most of the frustration behind closed doors. Outside of the courtroom, he spends a great deal of his time writing and refining the ideas he speaks about publicly. His 2023 book, Government Gangsters, became the center of many of his current conversations, and the themes he wrote about there still shape his days. Whether he is in D.C. or Nevada, he is often surrounded by stacks of drafts, notes, and chapters for future projects. His recent life is quieter than the political storms around him suggest. His family, a tight group of friends, the discipline of hockey, and the long hours he puts into writing define most of his days now. It is a routine built not on noise, but on control, a private world he has learned to protect carefully as his public profile continues to grow. If you enjoyed exploring the world behind Kash Patel's life and legacy, make sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Tell us which part of his story surprised you the most, and stay with us as we continue uncovering the homes, journeys, and lives of figures shaping today's world.